Hello and welcome back to another study with Facts versus Fables. If you are here for week 9, education and the Sabbath, then you are in the right place. We will get into it though right after we pray.
Let us pray. Eternal, most righteous and loving Father, dear Lord, you have blessed us with another week. You have blessed us with life, dear Lord. And as we dive into your word, I pray that your Holy Spirit may lead us. In your name's sake I pray. Amen.
Amen. So our main passage is Exodus 31, 12 to 18. And it's actually such an important passage that I'm going to pull it up and read it. Okay. So here we go. Exodus chapter 31.
One of my most favorite books is
Is it?
Yes, it's Exodus.
Okay, so here we go. And the Lord said to Moses, and I am reading from the English Standard Version. That's just my preferred choice. And the Lord said to Moses, you are to speak to the people of Israel and say, above all, you should keep my Sabbaths, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I, the Lord, sanctify you. You shall keep the Sabbath because it is holy for you. Everyone who profanes it shall be put to death. Whoever does any work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day shall be put to death. Therefore the people of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath through their generations as a covenant forever. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel that in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave to Moses, when he had finished speaking with him on Mount Sinai, the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone written with the finger of God. So this is what the Lord said to Moses when he was up on Mount Sinai. So my first question is, what are some key words or phrases that stand out through this passage?
For me, because I read the King James one, I like that one. And the one that's the word or the phrase that stood out to me was in verse 16 at the end. And it says, for a perpetual covenant, which means the Sabbath is supposed to be a covenant that doesn't only last for that generation, but it continues. Perpetual meaning everlasting. It doesn't stop regardless of the whatever times we're in. It's everlasting. So that stood out for me.
I like that.
So the word that stood out to me was remember. And I'm going to give you guys a context of why remember actually stood out to me. So in verse 13 of this verse, it says that, tell the people of Israel, be careful to keep my Sabbath day. I was reading from a Bible commentary, and it's from a Ellen G. White Bible commentary, and she just to give you guys a backdrop, they were leaving from Egypt, as we know the book of Exodus is leaving out of Egypt, and the Lord had instructed Israel to build a tabernacle for him, and they thought in themselves that because of the urgency of building the tabernacle, they would work on Sabbath. And the Lord, he hears and he listens, and he overheard them. And the decision that they would have made would to work on the Sabbath, because guess what? They were doing the Lord's work. Who wouldn't want to work on the Sabbath doing the Lord's work? But the Lord was very clear in telling them that no, remember to keep my Sabbath. So that's why this keep and remembrance stood out to me very important.
Guys out here eavesdropping on people's conversations.
He hears everything.
So what stood out to me actually, well, a few things, because I also throughout the generations was something that stuck with me also. But something else, I think it's verse 15. Let me look. Yes. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest. So holy to the Lord. So solemn rest and holy. And it kind of makes me think, because we've had 6 days of work, and then we get to the 7th day and we're like, yes, it's the Sabbath. I am going to sleep the entire day. But that is not what the Sabbath is for. So it really made me think of solemn, and I looked it up. And solemn is like formal or like dignified. You know, when you think of something solemn, it's
Sacred.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
It's not something that's like
You do
unimportant.
whatever.
You
Uh-huh.
just, you know, you're wishy-washy with it.
Uh-huh.
The Sabbath is supposed to be something that is sacred to us and something that's holy, that we're intentional about. And that's something else that the lesson talked about
Uh-huh.
as well, where, you know, the entire week
Mm-hmm.
should be geared to preparing for the Sabbath.
True.
And we don't really do that all the time.
That's
It,
true.
it is. That's why, you know, it's this keeping the Sabbath week after week, you know, 7 days after 7 days, is in anticipation of keeping the Sabbath in heaven. And just like my wife said, that a lot of times we miss the whole idea of the Sabbath, where it's just, you know, you Friday night and Sabbath is there. But in anticipation, you gear your week towards getting to the Sabbath. You get to that Sabbath rest. So everything in which you do in the week is geared towards getting to the Sabbath day. Am I making
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or concept of work, play, joy, and everything. If we think like this, when the Sabbath comes, it will not take us by surprise,
Mhm.
because once the Sabbath has ended on Sabbath evening, Sunday will start our next preparation process in getting to another Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of people, a reason why the Sabbath is such a burden is because, as you guys have said, we don't prepare from before. So when we get to the Sabbath, it's like, you know, I gotta rest. And sometimes we think about, you know, the things we gotta get done for the next coming week because we didn't, you know, we didn't have proper time management, and we weren't stewarding our time the way that we're supposed to.
Mm-hmm. If any of you are kind of thinking about like, what do you mean by prepare? I can give you an example that for me personally took me some time. So even just preparing my clothes for Sabbath, knowing what I'm gonna wear and making sure it fits and looks good and is ironed before Friday. Something that is small like that, you know, taking the time on Tuesday or Wednesday to say, you know what, let me try this on. Let me see how this is. I'm going to wear this for Sabbath. That way you wouldn't be rushing and right then and there, you know, for the Sabbath day. You're still able to keep that Friday evening holy. You're able to bring in the Sabbath.
And as something to add to that, because I know a lot of us are like that
Mhm.
when we aren't prepared with our clothes. And I know that a method that I try to use that is helpful, that I may not fall into that trap, is I buy clothes that I don't have to iron. They're iron-free clothes. So all I got to do is, I don't feel to wear that, grab something else, because you know it's going to fit. There's no wrinkles because it's iron-free. So you got to think outside the box and see what works for you, because not everything works for everyone. And yeah, we don't all have the same faults, or we don't all have the same issues, but you know, we have to work around them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know that I go through the Sabbath school lesson. Like I go through sometimes day after day. So I'm learning something about God that when Sabbath comes, I'm able to share it with my fellow brothers and sisters. So that's a way that I use to prepare for the Sabbath, and
True.
in anticipating of spending time with God, because I want to be able to come to my
Share.
fellow brothers and sisters and said, this is what I learned about God through the week. It's not that only come and, you know, I sing praises to him. Yes, I do all of that, but I go in anticipation of, okay, I learned about him.
Mm-hmm. And that's where education comes in and connects with the Sabbath, right? Because this whole thing, we're talking about the principles of education, and Sabbath should be a time where families can come together and share and engage with each other and talk about what they've learned throughout the week, whether their personal study with God or, you know, the Sabbath school lesson itself. It's just a time where we can engage and really, it kind of like deepens what you've learned when you're able to share it with something else. But something that we're kind of like hopping around that I think that we need to be clear about is, what is the purpose of Sabbath? So we've kind of mentioned that education aspect, but in the text and throughout the lesson, there was some other things mentioned about the purpose of the Sabbath.
So, as the lesson brings out the point that Sabbath and the family are two institutions that was created by God in the Garden of Eden. So as we talk about the Sabbath, we talk about I'm so sorry. Let me gather my thoughts. As we look at the Sabbath, it is a memorial for what the Lord had done in the creation. So the 6 literal days in which the Lord spoke and everything came into existence, we keep the Sabbath as a memorial of what the Creator had done for us and has done for this wonderful universe. So the Sabbath is a memorial in which we keep.
And I think one thing that sets us a little bit apart from other Christian denominations is that we believe that the Sabbath is on the 7th day of the week. And this, in fact, is biblically based. So that's something that we want to talk about as well. Since we're talking about the Sabbath, let's talk about the day that it falls on. Does it fall on Saturday or does it fall on Sunday? Do you guys have any ideas first before I
any
give
ideas
some
of
verses?
the Sabbath day, why it falls on the 7th day, or why it's not on the
No,
the
because the
first day?
Bible is clear that it's on the 7th day. But is that 7th day Saturday or is that 7th day Sunday?
It's the 7th day Saturday. As we look at, even if you look at the first, I think it's the first 2 chapters of Genesis, it begins by illustrating or telling us how the day was designed. I know that for right now we say it's like from 12 to 12, but that's not biblically accurate. It's the evening and the morning were the first day, and the evening and the morning were also the second day. So we get that pattern of the evening and the morning for the first day. And even if you look through the book of all through the Bible, no other day was actually mentioned. It's now since the 21st century, not the 21st century, but the modern era, where we have given the other weeks of the day names. So everything was in cycle of the Sabbath.
Okay. Also, when you look at it, even how our calendar is set up, it starts with Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in that order. And it's just recently that I'm seeing other people trying to switch up how the calendar is. But even if you look at your phone, that's what it says. S is the first one, Sunday. And S is the last one, which is Sabbath. And even when I was learning Spanish, Sabbath is called Sábado.
And in many languages.
In many languages. And it translates to be Sabbath, and which is the 7th day, and which is the day of rest. So
I want to now bring in that biblical portion, because like you said, some calendars are different. So if we look at that calendar, then Sunday is the 7th day. So how do we really know biblically? So like I said, in Exodus 20 and Exodus 31, it mentions that Sabbath is the 7th day, right? But we really want to know, where does the 7th day fall? So if you go back to when Jesus was on earth, because he is our example, when it came to his crucifixion, right? In chapters, let's do Matthew 27 and 28, and also Mark 15 and 16, it talks about the day of preparation, which we all know the Jews observed the 7th day Sabbath Saturday, and their day of preparation was Friday. And it talks about that the crucifixion happened on the day of preparation. It talks about his being in the tomb on the day after the day of preparation. It talks about after Sabbath in the evening towards the dawn of the first day, which leads us into Sunday as the first day of the week. And there's no discrepancy. No Christian denomination says that Jesus did not rise on Sunday. So if he rose on Sunday, the first day, and that he was buried and crucified 2 days before Sunday, then we know that the day of preparation was Friday, meaning Sabbath is Saturday. I know I kind of took you in a loop there, but go back to your word. That's all I'm saying. Go back to those chapters. It's in all the Gospels. So just read the Gospels and you'll see that the Sabbath day falls on what we now call Saturday.
And also that it hasn't changed, which the lesson has blatantly said. It is a perpetual covenant that it's everlasting from the beginning, and it will last throughout the middle until the end. So it hasn't changed, even in Exodus as we are studying.
So my last question really is, why do you think that we've come so far from where Sabbath was intended to be?
Why did we come so far?
Yeah.
I think it was a design plan from Lucifer in order to take us away from understanding, keeping the memorial of Jesus Christ, memorial of God himself who created everything. So I think it was a design plan from the beginning to attack one of the key principles that the Lord had created in the Garden of Eden. So I think that's why.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas?
No.
Okay. And I also think that sometimes when it comes to the church and what we teach, we kind of just teach this is the Sabbath day and we go to church on this day and we don't do such and such, but we don't really teach and engage and talk about why or where it was instituted and how it's supposed to be a memorial for creation and what it has to do with redemption. You know, like we don't dive deep all the time. It just becomes part of the routine. And then we pass on that routine and pass on that routine and pass on that routine without fully teaching. And then it just becomes a burden. Another day where I can't do the work that I need to do to get the money that I need. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, then it becomes a burden to us when we don't fully understand what it's about. And that's sad.
That's sad. That's truly sad. And it's one of the times that I actually look forward to spending time with God and learning more about him. Like, I know that I have a busy schedule, and even for church, you know, I do have a busy schedule, but I do cut out time, especially on Sabbath, to commune with God. Just like I have a relationship with my wife, I spend time with her. That's something that I look forward to.
So you've heard it here, folks. We've talked about the Sabbath. Don't keep it to yourselves. Go and share with your friends. Spread the word, spread the gospel, and we'll see you here back next week for another episode. Bye.
Bye.